Why GDP per hour worked is a scam.
Productivity sounds complicated. It's actually extremely simple.
It's not.
You just take the GDP and you divide it by the hours worked in the country.
You make it sound so simple.
So American GDP is $80. So for every hour an American worker works on average, he or she produces $80 of GDP.
Mm-hmm.
In Canada, it's 50. So that's every hour. So that means we have to work 60% more just to make the same amount and have the same level of income to buy food and housing. So now that sounds like a bunch of wonk speak.
It is.
That makes no sense.
Let me show you why this notion of productivity is completely wrong-headed, and why conservative politicians would love to sell you on it. GDP is the total value of goods and services produced in a country over a given period of time, generally 1 year. If we have a country where annual GDP totals $1 million and we have a total of 5 workers, each worker could be said to be generating $200,000 of GDP. Not bad. Now, if we replace 4 of those workers with machines, and we continue to produce the same $1 million of GDP, the GDP per worker will now be $1 million. Now, if you believe for a moment that one worker actually takes home $1 million in salary, then you're even dumber than Pierre Poilievre thinks. Even if that one worker actually made $1 million a year, we would still have 1 rich guy and 4 unemployed workers. The fact is, we can replace the machine in the previous example with any number of phenomenon, including offshored production, automation, artificial intelligence, precarious employment, and stagnant wages, otherwise known as right to work. All of these phenomena are strategies that corporations play in order to lower production costs, but they all have the same effect. And that is to create as much of a disconnect as possible between the value of a nation's GDP and the value of that nation's employment income, thus creating artificially high values for GDP per worker that have absolutely nothing to do with worker incomes. Never forget, the goal of political conservatism is to maintain the past. And it's not the past of the 1950s when a single income could support a household. You could pay off a mortgage in 6 years, and you could literally work your way through university. That was a reality created by decades of progressive governments and marginal tax rates for the ultra-rich that ranged from 70 to 90%. The goal of political conservatism is to conserve the wealth and the power of the wealthy and the powerful. It has absolutely nothing to do with making life better for the working class. Now, I don't expect you to believe me or anything else you see on social media, but your family, and especially your children, do expect you to take 10 minutes to look up the meaning, the origin, and the goals of right-wing conservative politics.